Hello?
Hi, my name is I'm from the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, hello. How's it going, sir?
He asked me to give you a call. He said you're interested in joining our meeting.
Uh, it's a meeting? I thought it was like a church event or something.
It is. It's on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
It's our commemoration of the Last Supper, where we'll have about a 30-minute talk about what Jesus did for us and how we can respond to that.
Oh, okay.
And as a congregation, we all meet on Zoom virtually, so we're not in person. We're just on screen, or some people call in, they don't have their camera on.
Oh, okay, cool. That's probably safer. So it's a church event. So, and you said cameras are they going to be on? You said
Cameras are optional. I mean, I'll have my camera on.
Okay.
We'll have a speaker that will be presenting. Before the meeting, we'll probably open it up an hour ahead. The meeting's at 7:30.
Oh, okay. Do people chat on there?
I'll be opening. Pardon?
Oh, I was going to say, do people chat on there before it starts?
Oh, yes. In fact, they chat too much. So we're breaking them into breakout rooms. We'll try to get 10 or 15 people in a room where it can be a smaller, controllable conversation. And he didn't give me your name.
Oh, yes. My name is Manny.
Manny.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Manuel, but you can call me Manny.
Okay. Well, it's mine.
Oh, it's nice to meet you, sir. I was gonna ask those because you said cameras are possibly gonna be a thing. If I were to turn mine on, should I wear like a suit since it's a church event, or is this like a come as you are thing?
I mean, for us, we'll all be dressed up.
Oh, okay.
We'll all be in suits and ties. This is like our, there's the expression, the Sunday best.
Oh, yes.
For us, out of the whole year, this is our one, we would call it Memorial Best.
Your Memorial Best. For a
second, so we'll be in suits, but you don't have to go out and buy a suit if you have a shirt and tie or whatever, however you feel comfortable. I mean, if you come in jeans and a t-shirt, we'll be happy to have you.
Oh, that's cool.
But just so you don't feel uncomfortable, the rest of us will be dressed up.
All right, I will keep that in mind when selecting my attire. Let me see here. So you said it's about...
And are you familiar with Zoom?
Yes, I have used Zoom for work before, which is why I was asking about the camera thing, because at work they can be a little lenient on the dress policy, so... But
well, it's up to you. I mean, and you can not have your camera on if you'd like. It's just entirely up to the individual. Some people actually have a kind of a poor connection, so if they have their camera on, they can't really converse or anything because they don't have enough connection to see and hear.
Oh,
so
yeah. I imagine that gets distracting too.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, once we start the program, we'll mute everyone else, and then we'll have the speaker that will be spotlighted and visible.
Okay.
And then at the end of the 30 minutes, we'll allow a little time because most of us have prepared the emblems, the bread and the wine at our homes. And so we'll have a few minutes to pass the bread and the wine and then talk about the value of that and what it means. And then we'll close with a prayer, and then we'll have an option for more breakout rooms.
Oh, so is that like communion at the Catholic Church where they drink the wine and they eat a little piece of the cracker or whatever?
It's based on the same idea. Have you had much exposure to Jehovah's Witnesses?
Oh, no. Actually, I was kind of raised in an atheist household, but I've been kind of more exploring religion lately because of, honestly, let's be real, everything is kind of crazy these days, like the pandemic.
It is.
And then that freeze was very devastating, with all the snow and everything. And it just kind of called me to go and look deeper into this, because if a lot of people believe in the Bible and have faith in all of that, then there must be a reason. So I was actually having a good conversation with a lady in line at the grocery store about this, and it turns out that she was a Jehovah's Witness, and she actually gave me a little card with the link to the website on it, and she told me she told me I could download a copy of the Bible for free off of there, which is really cool, actually. And she told me it has a lot of good features on it, like where you can take notes and stuff, and like all this kind of crazy stuff for the app on
It does.
the tablet, I think she said.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I love the app.
Yeah, so she was telling me also, like, because, we were in line, we didn't have a lot of time. She told me that there's going to be an event held today. She didn't tell me this today, she told me this yesterday, but she told me that there's going to be an event held, and that I should check it out, and that I can find info on the website. And I did, and that's why I was calling the Kingdom Halls in the area. The church, that's your church, right? That's not like an office?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
I'm just making sure. Yeah, so, and the website said that I had to call somebody to, to get information on how to attend the event. So that's how you got me.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Wow, I'm glad you chased this down. And I think you'll find, I grew up, my father wasn't a witness, but what I've always appreciated about the witnesses is they help me to understand the Bible.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
It's like learning to read a ruler. Once you know how to read the ruler, you can measure anything.
Wow, that's actually really beautiful.
So you can use the Bible to kind of measure, because when you look at religion around the globe, honestly, religion has been responsible for a lot of horrible stuff.
Yes, it certainly has. Actually, that's kind of what kept me staying an atheist for so long and not even questioning that, is just all of the horrible things I've seen, like, with the Catholic Church and the child sex abuse stuff, and the like all the religions in the Middle East and all that stuff, and all the things that they do. It's just, it seems like almost kind of evil. So I never really wanted to look into any of that. I was never enticed by that.
That's understandable.
But like I said, lately I've been having kind of a change of heart because, like I said, so many people have faith in what's in the Bible. So, there's got to be a reason for that. And I figured why not check it out? Can't hurt. And I've heard good things about Jehovah's Witnesses, in the past, because I've had a few classmates and stuff that were Jehovah's Witnesses, and they were always really good kids. They were like quiet, but well behaved. Not so quiet that they didn't talk to anybody, but they were polite and friendly. They didn't engage in any like troublesome stuff. Like they didn't go out and party or anything like that. So I figured maybe they got something right,
Well, I think so. That's why I'm still here.
What did you grow up as, out of curiosity? Just curious, if you don't mind sharing.
Well, my parents divorced when I was 1. My mom was a witness, but my dad wasn't. So he would take me to other churches. He spent most of his life trying to find the truth, and he kept running into problems with churches. Doing things that he could see weren't right. And it was kind of the same thing, because he had studied the Bible a fair amount, and he could see things in the Bible that kind of condemned what a lot of the churches he was trying to visit were doing. So he kept kind of bouncing from one to another. And so that's one thing I appreciated about the witnesses is, you can study the Bible, and that's one of the things we offer is a free Bible study. So
she mentioned that
now on Zoom.
Yeah, she was mentioning that. She said if you need any help, understanding what you're reading in the Bible, because, like I said, she told me I could download one. She said if you need any help understanding that, or like you want to learn some more stuff about it, feel free to submit a request through the website or call one of our churches, and we'll hook you up. And
yeah,
like that's pretty cool.
I think you'd find it tremendously rewarding, because learning about a religion isn't near as valuable as learning about the Bible.
Right, yeah. And that's what was kind of confusing at the beginning of this journey, is that, like, you get on Google and you try to figure stuff out for yourself, but everybody has their own kind of idea of how things should be. Like, literally different Christian churches believe different stuff. Like, there's some that believe in water baptism, like by immersion, and then there's some that believe you can sprinkle it on the head, and that's cool. And like there's different rules about how to get baptized and who should get baptized, all this kind of stuff. It's just like so confusing, and I honestly figure if you're going to do this, you should do it like from the source, right? Read the Bible, right?
In about a 15-minute conversation, I could walk you through a little history that would just explain that for you.
Really?
It's fascinating.
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I've got time. I mean, if you don't, I understand. But
okay. Well, no, we're kind of getting ready for things for tonight, but I'll give you a nutshell.
Sure.
In the Bible, the apostles, both Paul and John, in their writings, of course, Jesus lived about 2,000 years ago, and then he died around 33 CE, and then the apostles lived on through the 60s and 70s, all the way up to John didn't pass away until about the turn of the first century.
Whoa.
Both of them prophesied, Paul and John, wrote about those who were trying to change Christianity. So Jesus taught certain things, but after he died, he wasn't teaching at that point, but then those that were with him, because he spent about 3 years with his followers teaching them. So they were the ones that knew, no, this is what he taught. And if people would come in with something that was opposing that, they could say, no, we were with him. This is what he taught. But Paul and John both said after they passed away, those 12 apostles, then they were kind of like a restraining influence that kept that outside influence from coming in and taking over.
Mm-hmm.
But once they were gone, it was going to go south. In fact, they foretold what they called a great apostasy. And they said people would come in and they would start teaching commands of men as doctrines. And interestingly enough, two of the things that John wrote about, one was forbidding to marry.
Huh.
And then you think about what the church did with the priesthood, and then you think about the fruitage of what that decision cost. You have all these priests and all these nuns that are forbidden from marrying, but then what happens? You got all this immorality going on, abuse of children, and that wasn't ever in the Bible.
Right.
It was something that people came up with and added this rule. So that didn't happen until about 300 years after Jesus, that the Catholic Church was put together.
Yeah, actually, I wondered about that because, I noticed that that they can't marry. Like in the Catholic Church, all the clergy can't marry, and I thought that was kind of strange considering. Like I said, I'm not super familiar with the Bible, but from the basic understanding I have, I thought that a lot of them that were teaching did have wives and stuff.
Yeah. It's so funny because Paul wrote in the book of Timothy and in Titus about the qualifications of those that would take the lead in the congregation. And I think it's in both of those, but at least in Timothy, he says that they should be husbands of one wife.
Huh.
And so the church, what had happened by then is a lot of people had stopped reading Latin, and the Latin Vulgate was what the Bible was for most of the people during the first century. And so the church kept it in Latin. They wouldn't let it be translated into the common languages of the people. So there came a time when people couldn't read the Bible. They would have to go to the church and then they would hear a sermon in Latin, and they would depend on the church to explain to them what it meant.
Oh.
And so you had all these things brought in that were never in the Bible. The burning of candles, purgatory with 17 layers, the prohibition against divorce.
Right.
The whole idea that you can't get divorced. You can get an annulment, which somehow says that it never actually happened. That's not in the Bible.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense. And
and there was nobody to stop that either, right?
Yeah, Jesus said, if there is adultery, yes, that can break the marriage. And that was the only basis he gave for it.
Really? So that's the only reason that you should really get divorced is just adultery? There's no provision for something like child abuse or spousal abuse even, or abandonment of family, or
that is a good question. It's a little longer conversation.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to engage
no, that's
you so
okay.
much.
No, I love questions, but don't forget that. In fact, you know what? I'm going to write it down. Okay, so reasons for divorce. So the thing is, we don't have rules. What will happen if you ask that question, and we're going to talk about it, is we'll open up the Bible and we'll look at scriptures that show what the Bible says about that.
Okay,
because if
so
I
it's
made
like
up a
more
rule about it, it
nuanced.
wouldn't have any value. Pardon?
So like you guys basically look into the Bible at various like scriptures and stuff, and kind of get a more nuanced idea of how to handle certain situations.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you had the Bible was written by about 40 different writers over a period of about 1,600 years, and it was written to two largely different groups of people. You know, the first section of the Bible was written to the Jewish nation, or for and about, and you know, things that led up to them, and then mostly about them. And then the second part of the Bible, what they call the New Testament, was a compilation of Jesus' life and ministry, and then what the apostles did after he died, all the way up through prophecies that have to do with our time. So the two parts of the Bible have to work together. They don't make any sense without each other.
And they don't like contradict each other or anything like that, right? Like,
oh, absolutely not.
There's no contradiction anywhere.
I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. Because I have always heard growing up, from relatives and from my parents, because like I said, no really religious people in my family, that like, that there's like a bunch of contradictions in the Bible, and it's just all this like sexist stuff and all this bad stuff and outdated and everything. Again, that's part of the reason I ended up never really, until now, looking into that stuff.
What I've seen is the Bible really upholds the dignity of women. Laws were put in place to protect them, and it was, but you also have to look back at the time that it was written and what situations were being dealt with. And a law that today to us might look pretty archaic and maybe detrimental, at that time, it could have been a huge improvement on the situation that they were actually facing.
Oh, wow.
Like slavery, for one. In the Bible, you can read about slavery, but when you go back and you read about the laws that were put into place for slavery to protect the slaves, even the arrangement for their release. In the nation of Israel, there was no provision for permanent slaves.
Huh.
A slave had to be released after 7 years.
Well, how about that? I didn't even know that.
So, I mean, there's just so many things in there that are not what they have been presented by the churches. You brought up baptism. I mean, so I got sidetracked there. So you had the Catholic Church that was formed in the 300s. Centuries went by, and they were the prime Christian source, but then they were also at that time burning people at the stake for trying to translate the Bible into the common language. And then they participated in the Crusades, and all these things were happening that were wrong. Some of the popes were horrendous people. So then you had people like Martin Luther who saw some of these things. They were scholarly enough to be able to read the Latin, and some of them started translating into modern languages of that time. And as they did that, they saw problems with what was being taught, and this doesn't match. So then you had Luther that posted his grievances on the door to the Pope, trying to get his attention. And, they backed away from some of those things. I think they backed away from the saints. Like, you can't pray through saints. You pray through Jesus. He was the mediator. And then others later on, because the Catholic Church started sprinkling people, and you had the Baptists that said, well, wait a minute, we're reading this account about John the Baptist, and when Jesus got baptized, it says he went down into the river. When he came up out of the river, that was baptism. So that's not sprinkling. Sprinkling isn't accurate according to the Bible. So you had this whole branch that broke off that called themselves Baptists because they believed you had to be completely immersed.
Right.
Yeah. And so on and so on. You have people that kept seeing things that weren't right with what was currently being practiced. And so you get all these divisions. But interestingly, the Bible, back in the book of Daniel, Daniel wrote some prophecies that are still being fulfilled in our day. And he was told, seal up the book, make it secret until the time of the end. And that's really when it's going to become available for understanding what's in it.
Sorry about
and so through all those centuries, people didn't understand. there wasn't really, the Holy Spirit wasn't releasing that information to them. But man, I mean, there is so much available now. Where I was going a minute ago, yeah, so we go through the Bible in different parts because sometimes, 8 different Bible writers had something to say about one subject. And by putting those all together, you get a much more rounded out picture of that subject and what was intended, instead of just us maybe misinterpreting what one person said.
Huh. Well, I mean, that's probably a good way to go about it. I mean, that's almost scientific, really.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. It's logical.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, to compare things against different sources to kind of, try to get the actual, like, general idea is probably a better way to go about it than just one source. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, they do that in research all the time. I mean, they don't just trust one source. They gather information from a lot of sources, so that makes sense.
And that same process has helped us have a lot more faith in the Bible itself as far as its integrity internally. Back when the King James Bible was translated in 1611, they had, I think it was 4 or 6 copies of manuscripts that they could compare, where you had scribes that had copied, they'd copy one manuscript to another and to another, and they'd make handwritten copies. And I mean, the people were incredibly focused on making it accurate. But by the year 1900, they had found hundreds of copies of some of these manuscripts that then they could compare and say, oh, hey, look, out of those 4, 3 of them read this way, but now we got 400 that read this other way. It seems like maybe those were off center a little bit. So they've been able to fine tune, and really none of those changes are huge. They've all been very minor things. Not things related to major teachings of the Bible, who is God, or, where did life come from, or things like that. It's mostly been sentence structure and, maybe names or basic things. It hasn't been big things. But even at that, it's been able to be clarified and compared and cross-referenced, and it's been, like you said, a scientific type study of the authenticity of the Bible.
Yeah, I've actually been looking into, how they date things in the Bible, too. Like, there's actually a whole process with that. I think some people call it, like, Bible chronology. It's very interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all kinds of stuff, like, they use kind of a similar scientific process to just pinpoint, like, where in time certain events happened, and then they base, their interpretation of other events when they happened based off of those particular events. It's really cool. It's really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, do you have access to the web right now?
Yeah, actually, I'm right in front of my computer here.
If you go to that JW.org website
mm-hmm.
and go into the library.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see here. Where's the library? Oh, there we go. I clicked on the library.
And then there's books and brochures.
Yeah.
Third one down on the left.
Yep.
Let me just kind of look.
Third one down on the left.
There.
What third?
It should say
book?
books and brochures.
Oh no, I'm under the books and brochures part here. Yeah, there's like good news from God. Who are doing Jehovah's will today? What can the Bible teach us?
Yeah, there's all kinds of different things in there. I was looking for a particular one. Let me do a search.
I can click see all. Let's see here. Enjoy life forever. You are welcome to attend.
Publications. Here we go. If you go to the search bar and you type in, what does the Bible teach?
Let me see here. I think that was on the first page. Let me check.
Should be a search bar on almost every page, I think.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm a little confused here.
Up the top right, usually.
What does the Bible... It's what does the Bible teach?
Yeah.
All right.
Some light blue boxes. One of them will say publications.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
So right on the top there, do in the middle, do you see what can the Bible teach us?
Yeah, I got it. What can the Bible teach us?
So that's a study guide that you can download.
Oh yeah?
And it's free. Once you download it, you can actually open it up in that JW Library app on your device, on the phone or on the iPad or whatever you have. And then when you go through it, you can just click on the scriptures and they'll open up as a link.
Oh, that's cool.
So it makes it really quick to look through. This is the book that usually we start studying with people in if they're trying to learn about the Bible.
So it's like a comprehensive thing, like kind of a basic starter.
It's a basic starter.
Well, that's cool.
It does have, in each chapter, it'll have end notes so that you can go back to the back and it'll discuss things more in depth. But we're actually just now, starting this month, we're switching over to a new approach to studying the Bible, and it's much more media intensive. It's got videos, and I mean, quite honestly, I haven't really investigated it too much yet, but from what I'm hearing about, it's really awesome. In fact, I don't remember the name of it. Let me do a search for study. Let's see. Yeah, I did a search for study, and I came up with Bible study tools. Oh, no, that's going to be...
Do you all do these studies like remotely right now, or are you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes, I'm conducting all mine on Zoom.
Oh, cool. So you don't even have to like actually physically go anywhere. At least not right now.
No. I mean, we stopped that last March.
Yeah, well, I figure, yeah, because of the pandemic.
I mean, when all this stuff opened up, I had never been in a video conference. And
learned quick, huh?
We got noticed. It's like, we can't get together as a whole congregation. So the very next meeting, about 10 of us went over to our Kingdom Hall, and we kept socially distant. We wore masks and we sanitized everything. And we presented our meeting, and everybody connected. I think we used Google Hangouts for that one.
Oh, nice.
And by the next meeting, we had researched it and kind of selected Zoom as something to work with. And so then we didn't even go to the Kingdom Hall. I started hosting a lot of them here from my house. I have a good internet connection and a good computer. And we haven't been at our Kingdom Hall since then. Everything we're doing has been virtual. Even during the summer, we usually have conventions all over the world. All of those were virtual stream last year.
Oh, wow, that's cool. How can your can your systems handle that? I imagine if it's all over the world, there's probably a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, I think I would guess we hit 30 to 40 million people last year. Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, in a lot of, I mean, normally our attendance would be around 19 to 20 million for the commemoration that we're having tonight globally. But last year, because a lot of people like in Africa and some of the countries like that, they don't have good internet access. So what our organization did was they were able to purchase airtime on local television and radio stations, and they were able to present on those stations. So like in Africa, a friend of mine's over in Mozambique, and I think they had 80 television stations that were presenting the program.
Whoa, that's cool. I didn't know they would like do that. I thought that was like more of a, one of those televangelist church type of things.
Well, we haven't for a long time. And quite frankly, that just reeks of money.
Yeah, I mean, we usually,
televangelists.
Yeah, usually it does, like that one weird guy who tried to blow away COVID. That was a scary guy. Kenneth Copeland, I think his name is. Real scary looking dude.
Oh, I didn't hear about. I've heard his name. I didn't hear about what he did.
Yeah, if you ever look him up, I mean, like, he looks like what I would imagine an actual demon-possessed person would look like. The guy is terrifying.
No.
The guy is terrifying. But, I was going to ask, I have a couple of basic questions. Like, they shouldn't take too much time to answer. Like, so, What are y'all's views on like politics? Do you guys like are you guys like kind of stay out of it? Because like I know a lot of churches tend to get a little bit like I know they shouldn't because I mean religion really shouldn't be involved in politics, but generally like I do notice.
Well, you just gave the answer right there.
Oh, okay. So then y'all aren't involved. Okay, that's good to know because like I've noticed a lot of churches do tend to get like they tend to lean right or left or whatever, and they tend to be involved in that stuff.
But remember what I told you I would do if you asked me a question, right?
What's that?
So do you have your Bible handy?
Oh no, see that's the thing. That's why I actually the lady was offering me to download one is because I don't actually own a Bible.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're on the website, just open up the Bible.
Yeah, that's what she told me is that you can access it either online or just download it. So let me see here.
Okay, so go to the library.
All right,
go to the online Bible.
I can't find the link to the online Bible. Hold on.
Go to the library first. Go back to the main page and hit the library heading.
Let me see. Here's the Bible. Oh, no wait, that's not what I thought it was. It's a link about Bible teachings. Oops. Okay, hold on.
Are you on the library page where it just has like 12 topics?
Yeah. Let me just grab oh, here it is, the online Bible. There we go. All right, sorry about that. Which one am I supposed to pick? There's 1984.
Click that first one. The first one is the study edition. That's the one I would recommend for reading.
Okay.
And it has a lot of multimedia stuff with it.
Cool. All right, so which scripture am I looking at?
But we're going to go down to the second box. That's the Christian Greek scriptures, and John is the fourth one.
All right, so go to John.
And then John chapter 17.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and read 15 through 19.
Let's see here.
Or 15 through 18.
Okay. It says, I do not request that...
Oh, actually, just 15 and 16. I'm sorry. That'll cover.
I do not request that you take them out of the world, but that you watch over them because of the wicked one. They are no part of the world, just as I am no part of the world. Oh.
So, that's it right there.
No part of the world.
Yeah, when they tried to make Jesus king, he withdrew. He refused to be made king. He wasn't there to set up a political kingdom.
Oh, okay. So, like, yeah, he doesn't want to have any part in that kind of stuff. Okay, that makes sense. Well, see, now I knew it was a little weird that the churches participated in politics sometimes. I felt like that was a little off.
Well, it's divisive. I mean, what if you have half the church is Democrat and half the church is Republicans? Now,
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally pretty like if you have to call me like not a religious, a political party, I would say it's apathetic. it's not Democrat or Republican. It's just apathetic. I mean, I don't even honestly want to participate in some of the stuff that's going on these days. Like, it doesn't seem like anybody has anybody's best interests at heart. It's just really corrupt and stuff. The other question that I had for you was about like the you know how I mentioned earlier that Catholics and other religions have issues with like child abuse. Now I noticed that like they didn't have any like safeguards in place or anything like that, and they even like straight up tried to cover it up for years, which is something that always kind of bothered my conscience as far as like trying to join a religion or something. So I was wondering, like, how do y'all handle instances of like that? Because I'm sure that that's got to happen like every so often. I mean, you can't nobody's perfect, right? Presumably nobody's perfect in your religion, so that means that there's got to be some cases of that happening. So like, so are there like policies or safeguards in place, like?
Oh yeah.
Because I have a couple of kids myself, and I would never want to like get them involved in anything where it's like the Catholic Church, and they don't really have a lot of safeguards in place. At least not the last time I checked, they didn't. And it
is a really touchy subject.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been we don't have any paid ministers. You know, like a lot of churches will have a pastor and he gets a salary or something and a place to live.
Oh, okay. So
we don't have that. We have a group of, and there's nothing like that in the scriptures, really.
Wow. I mean, so like y'all don't ever house any of your like ministers or anything like that, or give them like a car or money or anything. Like nobody ever does anything.
There's quite a structure, actually, because we are a global organization. So, like here in the city, we have somewhere around 80 to 100 congregations. It fluxes a little bit between English and Spanish and new language groups. So for about each 14 to 16 congregations, we have a couple, or well, it could be a single person. We call him our circuit overseer. And he comes to visit each congregation twice a year, and he'll spend a week with us. And he just kind of, checks and makes sure that things are going well. He spends some time encouraging the ones that are taking the lead in the congregation. He works in the ministry with us. He's a volunteer, so he doesn't get any pay. He's not salaried, but they do provide him a car, and then they make sure he has a place to stay. Sometimes it's with local families.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes if it's in a metropolitan area where there's a whole lot of congregations close together, like we have an apartment near I-10 and 410 that's attached to one of our kingdom halls. And it has one of those brothers in the English and one of those brothers in the Spanish, and they have kind of back-to-back apartments that are made available to them.
Oh, that's cool.
And then they rotate every 3 years into a different assignment, so it doesn't become theirs. It's just something that they can use. And the same with the car.
Oh, okay.
They have access.
And the car's not like the Pope-mobile, right? Like the
the
bulletproof thing.
For a while they were using like Buick LaCrosses, and then I think they're in Chevy Malibus now.
Oh, that's cool.
Just kind of a basic four-door car that gets them around.
Yeah, like a sedan. Yeah.
It's I have a friend that has that role over in Mozambique, and he doesn't. Well, I don't think they provided him a car. Right now, he's doing everything on Zoom anyway.
Yeah.
But a lot of their transportation there was public. They would take the bus to the next congregation, and they would stay with the local people and whatever grass hut or tent or.
Oh, okay. So like the overseer is that the guy?
It's not a high life at all.
Is the overseer the guy that like is in charge of like making sure that the congregation is safe? Like there's no child abusers or anything like that, or any people trying to scam the congregation or anything like that?
Like in our congregation, we have, I think right now we have 12 elders.
Oh, wow.
We call them. And we're all volunteers. I'm one of them.
Is that like in the Mormons, the elders? Like elders are like usually people that go on missions. I'm learning a lot about different ones, different religions and stuff.
It's different with the Mormons. You can become an elder Mormon, I think, at either 16 or 19.
Right, yeah, that's why I was asking. Like, so these are just...
That's pretty young. We don't take off on missions like that. The Mormons somehow got the idea that mission activity was something that only some of them would do and only for a certain period of time.
Yeah, I think
and
it's like
really
2
nothing
years
like
or something.
that in the Bible. I mean, in the Bible, everyone that came into the congregation became a minister. In other words, they were responsible to speak to others about the good news that they had learned. So men, women, children.
So like everybody that attends the church, like they're a minister, like they can actually like officiate weddings and stuff?
No, not from that standpoint.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, we kind of look at the word minister. In the Bible, it has the meaning more of serving than in being in charge.
Oh, okay. So minister is more like when I know y'all go and knock on doors and stuff. So that's a minister.
Yeah. So all of us feel the responsibility to do that. We don't just do it for a certain time and then we graduate it. If it's important to go tell people about the good news of the kingdom, it's important for all of us to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. And everybody does that in your congregation then? Like everybody has to go knock on the doors and stuff?
Well, it has to, no, because we don't go enforce it. I mean, it's...
Oh, no, I meant like, is it kind of like a basic expectation of everybody to go and do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, basically, if you think about how you have felt in being atheist and feeling a little lost or frustrated with how things are going and seeing the confusion, and then you come across the answer, you're going to get excited about it. It's like, good heavens, why didn't I know this sooner? I got to tell somebody.
Well, yeah, I've been going nuts with all the studying I've been doing of, like I said, I've been looking into different religions, different aspects of, biblical teachings and stuff.
So we're not going to push you out to go door to door, but as you start putting all these dots together, you're going to get excited about it. And you're going to want to tell people, even if it's just people you work with or your neighbors or whatever. It's something that kind of comes from the inside.
Yeah, something I've actually always wondered about, Jehovah's Witnesses, because, I know one of the basic things I knew about them is that they go door to door. Do you guys, train them to do that, or is that, they just,
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, they just know how to do it automatically. They, go off the cuff.
No. We're all beginners on some facet. We have a midweek meeting every week, and it has a section in it that's designed just for helping us do better with being able to communicate with people.
Oh, so you guys teach public speaking and stuff.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's actually a useful life skill in general.
Oh, it is. I conducted that school for over 20 years in my congregation. I was in 2 or 3 different ones, but I seem to always gravitate to that role.
Do you get graded and stuff? Is that a school or?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's a little different than that. It's had changes over the years. We have a publication that gives different teaching skills that we want to try to develop, and it teaches us how to go about doing that. And then when we give a presentation on the program, we're kind of practicing that quality. So, maybe we're working on sense stress and modulation, or maybe we're working on pausing, or maybe we're working on accurate pronunciation, or developing the theme. It's all broken down like that. So, my boys, and my daughter too, they all grew up with me doing this. And so they started real early, and they've all been just phenomenal in school and being able to speak freely in front of other people and feel comfortable with that. Definitely life skills.
Does it cost anything to attend these schools, or?
Cost anything?
Oh, that's cool. So how do you guys fund yourselves if you guys don't? Oh yeah, that was what I was gonna say. If y'all don't charge for the school or your Bible study, how do you guys fund anything? If you're you just said that you don't tithe. So how does that all get funded?
Well, we have buildings where we meet, and obviously we have to pay the electricity, we have to pay the water bill.
Yeah.
It's hard to meet with no lights.
And no buildings.
And so, but it's a lot cheaper to do that if you don't have to pay somebody a salary.
Right. Yeah.
So when we build our Kingdom Hall, I live about 2 blocks from the one here in my neighborhood, and when we built it, it's all volunteer labor. We saved up and paid for the materials to build it. And then a whole bunch of us would get together and we'd work on it, and we'd put it up, I think, in 2 weekends probably.
Whoa! So they all just they slapped it together, huh? That's kind of amazing.
Except it's good. It's good quality construction. Everything has to pass city inspections. It's properly built.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't mean to imply that it was a ramshackle thing or anything. I meant they just kind of did it. That's cool. I don't even think I can build anything. But yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
We would learn how. There's so many skilled tradesmen that would volunteer, and if you're in a trade, typically you don't share anything because other people become competitors.
Oh yeah. Do you guys have? Do you guys have Freemasons? Do you know who Freemasons are? They're they have local branches and stuff, and they usually
but we're
stuff
not part of that.
Oh, okay. I know people have an idea, a weird idea about Freemasons, but I grew up around that kind of stuff, and I know people who are Freemasons, and they're not quite what people think they are in public. They're just they're almost an organization that tries to do good for their community, sort of. But usually,
my grandfather was one.
Oh yeah, that's cool. So you know a little bit about the Freemasons then.
Yeah.
That's cool. So yeah.
I never saw him engaging in any weird rituals or anything.
Yeah, I've heard about some of the weird stuff people think. But yeah, so you fund all of that, like, just out of thin air then?
So
Like,
well,
or
no,
get grants?
we have a box at the back of the building.
Oh,
And
okay.
like in the entry where we come in, there's a little box there. And there's one box that's for our local congregation, and there's another box that's for our worldwide organization. Because, globally, we are such a wealthy country.
Yeah.
In Africa, if they need to build a building to meet in, there's just no funds.
Wow.
And so to be able to help support that, we're probably disproportionately carrying a little extra load that way, but that's actually scriptural. There's a scripture in Corinthians where Paul talked about the equalizing
So
that
that's
could take
cool.
place. Because
so y'all send different funds as needed to different areas where it's more necessary, where they can't really get money over there.
Well, and what's come up more so in recent years is just disaster relief. With all these natural disasters going on, like back in '02, Houston flooded. 77,000 homes were affected.
Jeez.
We set up hubs over there. We had what were called RBCs, regional building committees. It was groups of volunteers that helped build kingdom halls in different areas. There was one down in the valley, one up in Dallas, one here in San Antonio, one in Austin, and 2 or 3 over in Houston. So we set up hubs over there in Houston, and we each took areas. And I was with the one from San Antonio, so I spent 3 weekends a month over there for about 8 months, just helping rebuild homes.
Wow.
And that was all volunteer. I mean, in fact, I'd pay for a hotel to go stay and do that. Fortunately, the hotels were very helpful, so I was staying in a Grand Hyatt for $27 a night.
Wow. Wow.
So everybody kind of came together. We did the same thing for Rockport a couple of years ago when the hurricane hit there. My daughter went down there for about 6 months because she works with roofing as a volunteer.
That's cool. So y'all do like charity and stuff then, like volunteer work.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's always good to be involved in stuff like that.
Yeah. Most of it's focused on our members. But, so often we've had a neighbor that come over and ask for something while we're there working on our members' home. And so we'll, send a little crew over and help them fix something. Or, it's not a closed door.
Right, yeah. I mean, that would be unbiblical, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, going back to the thing that I asked you earlier about the, like, the protections and stuff for children, like, do y'all actually have, like, a specific policy? Like, what if, like, say, I don't know, there was a kid that was, it was discovered that they were being harmed by one of the people in the congregation. Do they, like, kick that guy out, or how does that work? Like, they call the cops?
That is such a touchy subject. And I'm very familiar with it because that's where I was kind of starting to go earlier. I've been an elder since 1990. So
yeah, but it's important. It's important to me.
Much.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. No, I understand. If you go on the website,
I'm on it right now, actually.
Do the search, and I think search for child abuse.
Oh, okay. They have like a section on it. That's good. Let's see here.
And the first one, I think, will be Legal Resources, Jehovah's Witnesses, Scripturally Based Position on Child Protection.
Okay. That's good. Okay, so this will tell me, like, how they handle it and when they call the police and all that stuff, and how the legal proceedings go after that.
Yeah, so we're not a legal organization. We're a spiritual organization.
Right. No, I mean, I know you're not, like, litigious. It's usually not normal for a religion to, be, involved in that kind of, in the law and stuff. But presumably, like, I mean, like.
Well, let me walk you through a situation.
Right. Okay.
And I've been through a number of them. We have a legal department up in New York that wants to make sure that all of this is handled correctly.
Good.
So early on, we had a situation come up. Our instructions as elders are we immediately call the legal department. As soon as we hear of something, we immediately call the legal department. We don't handle it on our own. We don't, make any decisions. We call.
Oh, okay.
And
they call
part
the
of the
cops.
reason for that is, well, it depends. And here's why. The laws are different based on where you are.
Oh, yeah,
and based
true.
on the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
I've had situations where I called the legal department and they said, okay, you need to report this.
Mm-hmm.
In this situation, you need to go to a payphone. We want you to take another person with you as a witness. We need you to take a record. You're going to report this anonymously, but you need to get the badge number and information and everything for the person that you report it to. On other situations, they've said, okay, things are a little different now based on the legal situation in that area. You need to go to the Kingdom Hall, have two of you there, make a written record, report this, make sure and give them your name. And it's not based on what we want. It's all based on the legalities of what is expected or required where we are.
All right. So just as closely as you guys follow the Bible, you try to follow the law too.
Absolutely. I mean, if we go and we report something and we're not required to report it, then we could be breaking, I think they call it clergy privilege, or something like that. So, we're a person who is a minister has a responsibility like a doctor, where you have patient-client privilege, where he has to keep certain things quiet. So say you have parents that come to you and tell you about this situation with their child, whose decision is it to report that?
Well, I mean, when it's a minor, I think, at least here in Texas, when it's a minor, you are required to report it regardless of what the parents say.
I think that's the case now.
Yeah.
It wasn't always the case.
Oh, I'm not aware of what it was like before. Now, I will say, I want to share with you the reason I keep asking about this is because, see, my wife, she was a victim of child abuse in her church when she was young.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And they did not, they didn't report it or anything. They covered it up. And, of course she's terrified of, that happening to our children. And that's why I'm, so adamant about making sure that if we go anywhere that it's going to be, a safe place and that they have, things in place in case of some sort of situation like that. And that it's not going to be a place where, like, that kind of thing would be swept under the rug or that nothing would come of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Or like that if it did happen, that my children wouldn't have to, like, actually be around this person anymore. Like, that they would be dealt with properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that we don't have our entire latitude to handle everything the way that we would if the legalities are different than that.
Oh, I see.
Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, but but for the safety of your congregation, you would at least, like, warn them that, like, hey, there's been, some...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have, amongst the witnesses, we have an arrangement. Okay, so you got this source. You found the sources for child abuse.
Yeah, I'm looking
material?
at it right now. It's it says download. Can I just, like, open it on my on the web browser, or does it need to be downloaded?
I really don't know. I didn't. I think I hit download.
Okay, I'll hit download.
But there's a lot of other articles that are designed to be educational to parents of how to protect your children. How to educate them. Articles that can help you just have that conversation with them in a positive way, without making them paranoid. But keep the door of communication open so that if something does come up that makes them feel uncomfortable, they talk to you.
Yeah, and they don't...
we want to keep the communication going.
They don't allow these people to, like, go out, pretending to be all, like, well, not pretending. I mean, they probably, like, let's just say one of your members, turns out to be, like, an abuser. They wouldn't, like, let them go, to people's doors and stuff, right?
I've seen a variety of situations. Sometimes there's an accusation and there's never any establishment. It hasn't been legally established. It hasn't been. We haven't been able to determine for a certainty. I've known of situations where a teenager got mad at one of the older ones and accused them of things, and I don't really believe him. But he's never been able to, he couldn't be an elder or ministerial servant in the congregation until that gets cleared up.
Okay.
He's off the books as far as being able to take the lead or be in any kind of a responsible position. In a case where it's proven, he's pretty much permanently off the books, and we have an arrangement. It's in 1 Corinthians, if you get back to the Bible.
Okay, yeah, I'm still on that. I was looking through your document here, too. They have scriptural things
you can do
for
that.
everything, but 1 Corinthians, you said?
Yeah, let me get back to the Bible.
But yeah, so you said they're not allowed to have responsibilities, so I assume that includes that you don't let them do the thing where they go and knock on people's doors and talk to them and stuff.
Well, it could be the case that we don't allow them to do that on their own.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I've had a situation where I was assigned to work with one of them door to door because people can repent and they can change, and we're not able to see into the heart. And if a person is expressing themselves well and really wants to continue to try to share their faith with others, we try to make sure that it's in a safe environment for everybody. Well,
I thought you guys always went by twos, like the Mormons. I thought there were always two of you regardless.
No, I've worked by myself. I don't like it.
Yeah. It's
lonely.
Yeah, well, lonely, boring.
I'd rather work with somebody.
And then, you can't have somebody, help you when you're struggling a little bit.
Exactly, yeah.
But you said 1 Corinthians, and the verses?
Yeah, it's going to be 1 Corinthians chapter 5.
Oh, chapter 5, verse, let me see here.
Basically 1 through 5.
Okay, let me see here. Why isn't this working? There we go. 1 Corinthians, verses 1 through 5, you said? Chapter 5?
Chapter 5, verse 1 through 5.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, sexual immorality is reported among you, and such immorality as is not even found among the nations of a man living with his father's wife. And you are proud of it? Should you not rather mourn so that the man who committed this deed should be taken away from your midst? Although absent in body, I am present in spirit, and I have already judged the man who has done this, as if I were actually with you. When you are gathered together in the name of our Lord Jesus, and knowing that I am with you in spirit, along with the power of our Lord Jesus, you must hand such a man over to Satan for the destruction of the flesh, so that the spirit may be saved in the day of the Lord. Wow, that's intense.
So in verse 9, he gives a little more explanation of what he means by that.
In my letter, I wrote you to stop keeping company with sexually immoral people. Okay, yeah.
Well, keep going.
Oh, okay. Not meaning entirely
through 11, I think.
Okay, not meaning entirely with the sexually immoral people of this world, or the greedy people, or extortioners or idolaters. Otherwise, you would actually have to get out of the world. But now I am writing to you to stop keeping company with anyone called brother who is sexually immoral, or a greedy person, or an idolater, or a reviler, or a drunkard, or an extortioner, not even eating with such a man. Okay, so basically if I'm understanding this correctly, it's saying it would be kind of unreasonable to, completely avoid them, but just don't, party with them or whatever. like don't hang out with them.
Well, look what he says at the end of verse 13.
Okay. Remove the wicked person from among yourselves. Okay, so kick him out. Don't have him in the congregation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In another verse, he says, don't even say a greeting to him.
Okay, so you don't even talk to this guy, anymore. Straight up. Just nope.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, so like basically, then I'm understanding this as don't have any dealings with this person, like up to as much as possible, basically, like literally as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
outside of literally jumping off the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Now, in 2 Corinthians, when you read through Paul's letter to them that came a little bit later, this man had made changes. The action that they took got his attention. And so in 2 Corinthians, when Paul wrote that letter, he said, okay, this has been fixed. Now you need to bring this man back in and not let him be out there and be damaged. You need to confirm your love for him, bring him back into the congregation. He got the point.
Oh, okay. Wait, so am I understanding this correctly that you guys like reform the abuser and stuff, and then at that point allow them back?
Well, this isn't talking about child abuse. This is talking about a situation of immorality and
right. But we were talking about child abuse, but
yeah,
that's why I was confused.
So it could. So if a person was guilty of child abuse, and we would meet with them, and we would try to discern what the situation was. Is it something they slipped into? It caught them by surprise? Is it a practice? Are they a predator? We would try to analyze that separately from whatever happens in the court system.
Caught them by surprise? Can I have an example of that? Because that's confusing me. Like, how does that sort of situation catch you by surprise?
I've known of ones where individuals got, well, we get counsel as elders. We never counsel a sister alone.
Right.
We don't go meet with a sister at her house. If we needed to drop something off, we're going to stay outside.
Okay.
We're not going to go in and let the door close.
Right.
And even if we're at our Kingdom Hall, we have little library rooms inside where we could go in and meet, but we're not going to go in there and meet with the blinds closed.
Right.
If it's just us and one sister that needs to talk to us, because we just don't want to be in a situation where there could be a temptation. And if you have a situation where you have, some of these girls now are pretty, not in our congregation, but I mean girls in general, the sexuality level has just gone up exponentially among teenagers. And, sometimes they could create advances. I have a friend that when he was 17, he got with a 13-year-old.
Whoa.
And she was the one that promoted it. But because of that, he can never serve. He can never be used in a responsible position.
Well, yeah.
And he was only 17 or 18 at the time.
Yeah, he would still be legally responsible, though, since, minors can't consent, and honestly, like, morally, I would think that he would still be responsible. He would have to, say no, like, no matter what the child is saying, he would still have to be like, no, that's not right.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, but after that, I mean, that for him was a one-time deal. He married. He's had 2 boys. He's in his 50s or 60s. I didn't know about this. You know what? Can you hear him just a second?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Manny?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm still here.
And my mom's older, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't some emergency.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I understand. I check on my grandma all the time out in Castroville. Actually, that's where I am right now. I'm staying with her for a little while, just to kind of take care of her.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Scary times.
Yeah, and she's alone, so I don't want her to be alone. She's got animals and stuff, chickens. you know, I try to, the neighbors will help her sometimes, but, you know, I figure it's better to have family with her.
How old is she?
Oh, she's quite old. She's actually like 75, I think she just turned. She's a young grandma.
Oh, wow.
Like she had her kids young, and then my mom had me young, and it was a whole thing. I mean, my mom had me when she was, I believe, 15. It was different times, you know. She was married,
Wow.
though. She was married when she was 14. Like I said, different times.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only 33 myself, so, you know, we had young people in our family.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, I mean, she seems to have done well. You're asking serious questions.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, she didn't, none of my family is religious, but, you know, I still have that curiosity and all of that. And they respect that, at least. You know, they don't necessarily agree with participating themselves, but, you know, they respect my, you know, desire to go and learn for myself and everything like that. So hopefully I won't have any issues with that. Oh, speaking of which, I don't want to keep you for, you know, the rest of the day, so I was going to ask, what was your name again? And in case I decide to contact you about, like, maybe getting a study going, because you said I could.
No, I'd love that. My name is...
And I'm Manny Flores. Well, I was about to pronounce it the white way. Excuse me, Flores. I'm used to
Flores.
Yeah, I don't really have like a much of a Mexican accent, despite, you know, being Mexican myself. I don't know what it is. I never acquired the accent like growing up. But my family is they're all Hispanic. And and Native American too. So yeah, and how do I get in contact with the event today? How am I supposed to log on to that?
I will text you over the Zoom meeting information in just a minute.
Okay, all right. I was gonna.
I can text you You know what? I can probably do it right now. Let me see if I can send that text over. That way, I can make sure that you get it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that there are like safeguards and stuff. And it's.
No, we take that very seriously. It's been, you know, it's become a huge issue, but it's, you know, it became a huge legal issue, but it's always been a big, you know, we consider the flock not ours. They're God's sheep.
The flock?
So,
oh, you mean the congregation?
Yeah. So, you know, we bear an accounting for how we deal with them.
Right. Yeah. The blood would be on your hands, so to speak, right?
Them. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and children are precious. You have to absolutely, with your life, guard them. I mean, they're the future too. Like they're super important. They are innocent in all of this too.
Yeah. One thing that I think you'll appreciate in the hold on, let me type in your number here. And so you should be able to just click on that link, and it'll take you into the meeting. You probably have to enter the password.
That's funny. It says hi JR.
What?
Yeah, it says hi JR. Here's the link to our memorial this evening.
Oh, funny! Yeah, he's a friend of mine. I work with him and I had sent him the link earlier in the day. I didn't realize that part of the message was on there. I should have put my reading glasses.
No worries. It's funny because I actually thought for a second that you were talking about me. I'm actually Manuel Flores Jr. So I was like,
my goodness.
Yeah, I was like, how did he know that I was a junior? That's because I don't think I told you that, but
no, you didn't.
That's funny.
Well, there's several documents in there that you can look at. I mean, what I've appreciated over the last 5 to 10 years is there's been several articles that have really oriented towards helping parents appreciate the need to protect their children through educating them. You know, just helping them know how to protect themselves.
Oh yeah, sure.
How old are your kids?
My daughter is she just turned 8, and my son is 14, about to turn 15 actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a fun age. He's a good kid though. Like, my daughter is actually the more rambunctious one.
So if you go on the main page, did you look at any of those lower buttons? They have one called Activities for Children.
Yeah. I'm on those right now. So let's see here. It says there's a thing called children. I don't see any activities for children. I just see.
Oh, okay. Well, that's if you're on children, just have a little submarine with.
There's children and then there's teenagers. Oh, that's good. They actually differentiate.
Yeah, if you click on the children one, and there'll be some videos.
Oh yeah,
they have a whole
submarine
series of little cartoons. It's these two little kids, Caleb and Sophia, and all the different things that they go through. And all these little videos, they're like 2 to 5 minutes long, most of them.
About as much as my kid's attention span is.
Well, that's why they're designed that way, you know. But it's designed to teach basic Bible principles, but in a way that is appealing to them.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking for a particular one because
like
they have one in here that's designed. Yeah. Oh, here it is. It's quite a ways down. It's called "Protect Your Children."
Okay. Well, I'm in the activities collections, and there's only like it looks like 8 videos here. Do I look at a specific? Oh, is it study activities or is it Become Jehovah's Friend? Or
Become Jehovah's Friend. That's the series.
Okay. And it's
you see the 2 little kids on it.
Yeah,
and click on videos.
Let's see here. Videos.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's the 9th row down. The first one is Protect Your Children.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
And so it's only like 3 or 4 minutes, I think, but it's about that. It's about helping your children understand. If somebody makes you feel uncomfortable, what do you do?
Yeah, I know. I've definitely.
Of course, yours are probably already old for that.
Oh, maybe. I mean, you know, it's never. You're never too old to like be reminded of, you know, safeguarding yourself against stuff like that. I mean, even my wife has encountered situations where people have been inappropriate with her. You know, even as an adult. So, I mean, it never really stops. I mean, especially for women, I would think. You know, you still have to be safe. But
my most recent one was just this last week, but it was a guy that just almost ran right over me with no mask, you know, and I'm like trying to wave him off and get him to give me time to get out of the way. And I said, "Do you have a mask?" And he just kept charging, and I was on a stairwell. There wasn't anywhere to go.
Wow. Yeah, people can be really inconsiderate.
I had one, and he just, I was just appalled.
My goodness.
I should have held my hand up and said no.
Oh,
so what is your schedule like?
Go
ahead.
Oh, I was going to just ask one last question. I can answer the schedule in a minute. The last question I was going to ask, like, was, so you said that, like, you know, these people can sometimes be reformed and allowed back into the congregation, depending on circumstances and stuff. And if that's the case, like in the case, I guess specifically, like if they had sort of an incident with a child, you know, would they still be like coming into the Kingdom Hall, the y'all's church?
Well, I mean, right now nobody is.
No, I mean, but you know, like in the future when hopefully this is over.
Yeah, I mean, right now we have one that was accused probably 10 years ago. It was never established. So, you know, we can't really take any action against him, but we do have record of that information. And so, like, we, amongst the group of elders, we all keep an eye on him. So if he starts seeming to spend much time talking to young people, we'll pull him off to the side and have a little reminder with him. If we see him heading back to go to the bathroom, one of us gets up and follows him to make sure that there's not a child in the bathroom.
Oh, okay. That's good.
You know, we can't make a big public thing and announce it. You know, for one, we don't know if for absolutely certain it's true.
I see.
But we have similar protections in place that, we keep an eye. And if there's a situation where it seemed like a particular threat, then we would privately talk to parents of young children and just let them know of the potential threat.
Okay. Well, I mean, at least there's that. At least there's a bit of warning, because I would certainly want to know if there was one of those types of people in my midst, just so I could keep an eye myself, of course, as the father. I wouldn't want to.
Yeah. Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I would want to know about any threats or anything like that. So, I mean, as long as it's a safe environment and there are protections in place, I would feel comfortable attending and everything like that. Some of your services.
Oh, we'd love to have you.
Yeah. Right. And so my schedule. I work remotely, so I work for an animal hospital. But I can, let's see here. Usually I'm done, because my schedule's not exactly rigid, because I'm an IT person. But I'm usually completely done for the day, probably after 5 on a weekly basis, like during business days. Weekends I'm pretty much open.
Okay.
And of course,
like maybe
I can
Saturday
meet over.
Morning?
Yeah, Saturday morning. Yeah, that would work. And I can meet over Zoom. I would actually feel more comfortable with that, considering the pandemic right now. So. Oh,
me too. Yeah, I haven't stayed with anybody in person for over a year now.
Oh wow, it's been a while for you guys, huh? That's one of the things that I first noticed when the pandemic started was, where are all the Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on people's doors? Usually I see y'all downtown.
In March.
Yeah, usually I see y'all downtown with your carts too. You have like these little, they have like little wheels on them, and they have like a bunch of books and stuff.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anybody out.
Their explanation for us was, we love people enough to go door to door and tell them about what's going on, but we also love them enough not to, if we're, potential infectors.
Yeah, that makes sense. And wait, how do y'all knock on doors now? I mean, like, if there's no, if you can't go to people's doors anymore, I mean, you said that, like, people were
supposed to. Have you gotten a letter at your house?
No, actually, I haven't. A letter from, like, what, from y'all?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so we've divided all of our territories up. We already had territories that we would go out door to door in. And so we've gone through, like, Google Maps and the internet, and we've researched and identified as much as we can who lives in certain homes. We've looked up phone numbers. So we've been writing letters to all the homes in our territories, trying to get the resident's name if we can access that. And then if we can get a phone number, we've tried calling.
Oh, wow. So like digital door-to-door stuff, huh?
Yeah. So, I've been meeting with my group every Saturday morning to do that. And then we have a group that meets all through the week, Monday to Friday. And we'll be meeting tomorrow morning at 10. We'll all be, following up on people that visited with us for the memorial.
Whoa. Wow, you all are, like, really industrious. You stay busy.
Oh, absolutely. But it's fun. I mean, besides the importance of it, because just like you said, you look around at what's happening in the world, and it's just confusing.
Absolutely.
And to feel like the Bible helps us make sense of it, it is, just like as I've shared some things with you, and I can't see you, but I expect at some point your eyes kind of widened a little bit when you started putting the dots together.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That's rewarding. I can't think of hardly anything that feels better than that.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that, I could be a part of something that's so meaningful.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you on tonight. I'll be kind of behind the scenes hosting and setting things up with the meeting, but I'll keep an eye out for your name on there or your phone number.
Cool. Y'all two are the, you're the IT guy for your church then. It sounds like.
I'm one of them. We have another younger guy. I'm 60 myself, but I've always been very interested since the 90s, in computers, and so I have a pretty high-end computer system with this.
Oh, that's cool.
I work for myself that way.
That's cool.
So, I've got a big double display, and I've got high-speed internet and all the stuff set up for my business. So it's really worked out nicely to be able to be a backup. Our younger guys, like 35 to 40, he's the real IT specialist, and I kind of a fill-in when he's not available, or at least when he talks, I understand him, and then I can translate.
It's really funny. I'm Hispanic. My family's all Hispanic, but my Spanish is horrendous, as you could probably tell by my inability to pronounce my own name correctly. But I actually speak Japanese, so there's that.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
That is awesome. My son and his wife are very interested in Japanese. They've been trying to learn it.
Oh, yeah.
They would love to try to work with a Japanese group. We started actually a Japanese group here in town.
Oh, that's cool.
They're trying to get something going for the Japanese language, and but it's been hard to really find anybody to get anything started. It's culturally, from what I hear, it takes quite a bit to really develop a level of trust where people will really talk.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be like kind of more familiar with the cultural customs and everything, and kind of approach them in the way that they're accustomed to. But a lot of the ones that are in America are, sort of, they're accustomed to what things are like here, usually. I mean, unless they're like just freshly transplanted here. But yeah, I mean, that's great that they want to learn that language. It's a beautiful language.
They've been enjoying it. They've been trying to learn how to write it, and there's been a letter writing campaign going. They'll go through the phone book and try to identify people with what look like truly Japanese names and write letters in Japanese to them. It's been interesting.
Cool. That's cool. I didn't even know we had that many Japanese in San Antonio, really.
I don't know how many there are. Someone had run across some, like a little collection in one area, and so they were trying to kind of focus on them.
Yeah, I don't
know if the...
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying the only reason I learned it, I mean, other than I thought it was a really awesome language and culture, was I had originally planned on going over there to teach English. That was my original plan.
I've heard that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, now
I have a friend that did that.
Yeah, now I'm stuck with a situation where because I'm not going to just leave my children and my wife here, I have the language and I have the skills and all that, but I can't really do anything with it because there's not a ton of, at least not to my knowledge, there's not a huge Japanese community here, but I could teach it to other
online,
people.
Couldn't you teach remotely?
Oh yeah, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. I could theoretically do that. Part of the reason I wanted to go over there was to immerse myself in the culture, though. But
yeah, that would have been awesome.
But yeah, you know what? I actually might look into that now, because with COVID and everything, that might be more of a possibility now.
My daughter has a friend that's fluent in Spanish, and she married a fellow in Portugal or Spain, and she is working remotely in California teaching people Spanish, I guess.
Wow.
So it's like the hours, they're 7 or 8 hours different. But
I heard they have more of like... Oh, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you.
No, go ahead.
About that. And I was just saying, like, they probably have more Japanese people over there in California than they would over here.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, we have Japanese congregations and circuits over there.
That's awesome.
I mean, right here in town, we have Russian, we have a Chinese group, we have a French congregation, we have an ASL congregation, a whole lot of Spanish and English.
Yeah, that's the other thing that interested me about y'all is that, I understand that you're in a lot of countries. So, I mean, that's not something that I see a lot.
So go back on the website.
Yeah.
At the top, you see that little box that says English and has the box next to it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Click on that.
All right. Let's see here.
Select
your language. Whoa.
So what's it say right next to select your language?
1,029. That's a lot.
So that's how many languages you can pull up on the website.
Yeah, and that tells me a lot. That tells me that, there must be something worth checking out here if it's in that many countries. I don't see a lot of churches or sects of Christianity that are that widespread.
I think the United Nations site is only in 6 languages.
Wow. The United Nations. Are you guys involved with the United Nations?
No, that's a political entity.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It was just a comparison.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. No, I was going to say, like, because yeah, I was thinking that's a political thing. I didn't even know y'all would have any involvement with them. But yeah, that's crazy.
No,
y'all have
we don't.
like literally like over 1,000 languages, that's impressive.
I can't pronounce these. I doubt if I could even name over 100 languages without looking at something. Yeah. It just amazes me.
And sign language
established
too.
all over the world. Oh yeah, well, sign language for a lot of different countries.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, Chinese. Looks like.
Oh hey, so you could read this in Japanese if you want.
Yeah.
You can practice your Japanese.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's right. Yeah, actually, I should probably learn Japanese sign language too. That would be helpful. But yeah, that's amazing. I knew that you guys were everywhere. I knew that you guys were everywhere, but I didn't know like exactly how many. But this is a lot. This is pretty impressive.
I don't think I'm language gifted. You know, I thought when I moved to 40 years ago, I would learn Spanish in a year or so, and I seem to be, I don't know, limited somehow. I know a whole bunch of words, but I can't put them together for the life of me. You know, I can understand when people are talking sometimes. Like you were saying with Japan, I wish I could go spend a month or two in Mexico just to
immerse yourself.
Immersed in it. My daughter-in-law is from Guadalajara originally, and I was hoping that she would teach us some Spanish, but you really got to commit to it. And there must be some sort of thing I'm just missing in my brain that it doesn't work. I don't know. It doesn't seem to work.
There's like actually a sort of a list of words that if you learn those words and those phrases, you'll pick up the rest of the language really easily. And I forgot what that method was called, but it's like amazing. I know this dude on YouTube who actually he learns like a language a week almost. It seems like this guy's always putting up like he learns African languages, he learns Chinese, different dialects of Chinese, like all kinds of stuff. It's insane. Like it's really impressive what people can do when they.
People do have different skills. He must be truly gifted.
He is very gifted. He's impressive. But anyway, I won't keep you. I am sorry that I did keep you this long. I know you're trying to get ready for your.
No, that's kind of right.
Yeah.
What are you doing tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning, maybe sleeping in. It depends on what happens tonight. Hopefully not.
Okay.
But if not,
maybe like 10 or 11 o'clock. Would that be late enough?
Yeah, actually, let's see here. 10 a.m. Is that good?
I tell you what, you just text me if you're ready to go at 10. Text me and we'll plan on. Well, we're actually going to have a meeting at 10 o'clock. Just very brief, about 15 minutes.
Okay, so like 10:30 then.
If you text me around 10, 10:15, 10:30, we'll jump on a Zoom meeting.
All right.
And I will get that other publication. I don't have it in my head right now, but it's a new study publication, so I'll kind of get it pulled up and know where it's at. And we're switching over from that one I showed you of what does the Bible teach us.
Right, yeah.
And so we can launch with that new one and see how you like it.
That sounds awesome. I'm definitely
interested. And if you have other questions, just write them down and we'll make sure we get to them all.
Oh yeah, you know I will. We've spent an hour and a half of me asking you a ton of questions.
That is actually my favorite. You know, we could study 10 paragraphs of stuff you're not interested in and none of it would stick.
But exactly.
If you have a question and you get an answer that makes sense and you can see it in the Bible, it's going to stick. You know, and then you own that.
Then your gift must be teaching. If it's not languages, it's probably teaching.
I hope so. Maybe that's it. You know, I'll try. The crazy thing is, my wife just runs circles around me. I watch her describing. She's a piano teacher, and has been at it for 30 years or more. And I watch her, and she just breaks things down so neat for people.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, I need to do that.
Yeah, women are very linguistically gifted. They're very good, with words and stuff. It's like an actual physiological fact that their brains are like, they're just literally better at that. than we are.
Well, that's great. Mine's probably more like a ball of baling wire.
Oh my goodness.
Everything's connected, but it's all over the place.
Mine probably just looks like the inside of a computer.
There you go. What part of town do you live in?
I live over. Do you know like the the apartment complex?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my apartment complex. But like I said, I'm actually staying in Castroville right now with my grandma. But that's for a little while. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. Probably a week or two, maybe a little longer if she needs. But that's where I'm currently set up, staying in her back house.
Very nice.
So if you hear roosters,
that's cool. Castroville's beautiful. We used to go out there.
Yeah, so if you hear the roosters every so often, like when we're talking, that's those guys. They're hilarious.
Yeah, I heard one a little bit ago.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Okay, well, good deal. It's a pleasure getting to know you a little bit, and we'll plan on 10, 15, or 30 tomorrow morning.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You bet. And we'll see you in a little bit.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.